Most Toyota owners don't realize that modern cars are smart. They learn, they store memory, and sometimes when that memory gets confused, the car acts like something is broken, even when it isn't. Skip the simple reset, and you could waste hundreds chasing a problem that doesn't exist. In this video, I'll share 9 real reset tricks Toyota technicians try before replacing parts. No special tools needed. I've learned these through my workshop experience and want you to have them for free. Make sure you stay until the last reset, because that one alone could save you $1,200. Reset number 9. When the key is detected but won't start. Let me say this clearly. One of the most common no-start problems on modern Toyotas isn't the battery, the starter, or some expensive module. It's the smart key losing sync. I've seen owners tow in perfectly healthy Camrys and RAV4s because the dashboard says key not detected. Panic sets in. People assume the worst. But most of the time, the car and the key just stop talking properly after a weak key battery, a 12-volt battery replacement, or electrical interference. Toyota's smart key system works through encrypted radio signals. When the voltage drops or the signal gets interrupted, the car may fail to recognize the key even though it's right in your pocket. That doesn't mean the system is broken. It usually just needs a resync. Here's the quick reset trick. First, replace the key fob battery if it's weak. Then, sit in the driver's seat and hold the key fob directly against the start/stop button while pressing the brake and starting the car. Once it starts, let it run for a few minutes. That simple step forces the system to re-establish communication. Dealerships charge diagnostics for this, but most of the time, it's a 5-minute fix. Reset number 8. Fix your poor fuel economy. Let me tell you something most drivers never hear. Your Toyota can run poorly even when there's no warning light on the dashboard, no codes, no flashing alerts, just subtle problems stacking up over time. Rough idle, slight hesitation, fuel economy slowly dropping, maybe a faint smell of fuel. That's often not a bad part. It's corrupted fuel trim memory. Your Toyota's ECU constantly adjusts fuel delivery based on sensor feedback. It learns, it adapts. If a sensor was dirty, a vacuum leak existed, or the MAF was reading wrong for months, the ECU builds fuel corrections around that bad data. Then you fix the issue, but the old adjustments stay stored. Now, the engine runs too rich or too lean because it's compensating for a problem that no longer exists. I've seen perfectly good Toyotas feel sluggish after repairs simply because the fuel trims were never cleared. Here's the fix. Disconnect the negative battery terminal for about 15 minutes. Press the brake pedal for a few seconds to drain leftover power. Reconnect everything securely. Then start the engine and let it idle for 5 to 10 minutes without touching the gas. After that, take a calm 15-minute drive with mixed speeds. That forces the ECU to relearn clean, accurate fuel settings. It costs nothing, but ignoring it can waste hundreds in fuel every year and slowly rob your engine of efficiency. Reset number 7. For rough or delayed shifting. Not every rough shift means your Toyota's transmission is failing. I've seen too many owners panic over a small jerk between gears and immediately assume a $4,000 rebuild is coming. Most of the time, it's not mechanical damage, it's confused adaptive memory. Modern Toyota automatic transmissions are smart. They don't just shift, they learn how you drive. The transmission control module adjusts shift timing, pressure, and responsiveness based on throttle input, load, traffic patterns, and even driving habits. That's called adaptive learning. But if the battery was disconnected, the transmission fluid was changed, or the car was driven aggressively for a long period, those learned values can become unstable. The result? Delayed shifts, harsh downshifts, slipping feeling between gears, sometimes even hesitation when accelerating from a stop. I've seen cars shifting perfectly fine after a simple reset. Here's the basic relearn method. Disconnect the negative battery terminal for about 15 minutes, reconnect it securely, start the engine, and let it idle for 5 minutes. Then take the car for a smooth 15 to 20-minute drive. No hard acceleration, no sudden braking. Let it shift naturally through all gears at light throttle. If you made it this far, then consider liking this video, giving it a thumbs up, and subscribing to my channel. This helps me bring you more honest car advice. Reset number 6. Clears. False ABS and traction lights. When the ABS or traction light comes on in a Toyota, it does not automatically mean your brakes are failing. I've seen drivers park perfectly safe cars because one yellow light scared them into thinking the system was done. Most of the time, it's not a failed ABS pump, it's a temporary communication glitch. Toyota's ABS system constantly talks to the wheel speed sensors, traction control module, and stability system. It monitors how fast each wheel spins, how hard you're braking, and whether the car is starting to slide. But even a weak 12-volt battery, a sudden voltage drop, or a dirty wheel speed sensor can trigger a fault. When that happens, the system protects itself by turning the light on. It doesn't mean your brakes stopped working. It means the electronic assistance paused. Here's the soft reset. Turn the vehicle off completely and wait at least 30 seconds. Restart it and see if the light clears. If it stays on, disconnect the negative battery terminal for about 15 minutes. Reconnect it securely, then start the engine and let it idle for a few minutes before driving. Many minor ABS faults clear after this reset. If the light comes back quickly, then you inspect wheel speed sensors or wiring. But always try the simple reset first. It costs nothing, and sometimes that's all it takes to turn off a warning that never needed expensive parts in the first place. Reset number 5. Fixes clicking behind dashboard. Let me tell you something that confuses a lot of Toyota owners. That rapid clicking sound behind the dashboard doesn't always mean something is broken. I've had customers come in convinced their entire AC system was failing when the real issue was much smaller. That clicking noise is usually a blend door actuator trying to find its position. Inside your dashboard, small electric motors control where the air flows, floor, vents, defrost, and how hot or cold it gets. These actuators move tiny doors that direct airflow. Over time, or after a battery disconnect, the system can lose track of the door's exact position. When that happens, the motor keeps trying to recalibrate itself. That's the clicking you hear. It sounds serious. Most of the time, it isn't. To recalibrate it, turn the ignition to the on position without starting the engine. Set the AC to the coldest setting, then the hottest setting. Switch airflow from face to floor to defrost. Do this slowly and let each setting sit for about 10 seconds. Then, turn the car off completely and wait 1 minute before restarting. This allows the actuator to relearn its limits. In many cases, the noise disappears immediately. Replacing actuators can cost a few $100s in labor because the dash has to come apart. Trying this reset first costs nothing and often saves you from tearing into a perfectly good dashboard. Reset number 4. Fixes flashing. TPMS light. Let me say this clearly. A flashing TPMS light does not always mean you have a flat tire. I've seen drivers replace perfectly good sensors when all the system needed was a simple reinitialization. Toyota's tire pressure monitoring system is sensitive. It doesn't just detect low pressure. It learns what normal pressure looks like for your specific tires. When you rotate tires, adjust air pressure, or install new tires, the system can get confused. It may think something is wrong even when every tire is properly inflated. That's when the warning light stays on for no real reason. Here's the reset most owners never try. First, inflate all 4 tires to the correct pressure listed on the driver's door sticker, not the number printed on the tire itself. Then, turn the ignition to on without starting the engine. Locate the TPMS reset button, usually under the dashboard near the steering column. Press and hold it until the TPMS light blinks 3 times, then release. Start the vehicle and drive for about 10 to 15 minutes at a steady speed. This allows the system to relearn the new baseline pressure. Reset number 3. Electronic parking brake. Reset. When your Toyota's electronic parking brake refuses to release, it doesn't automatically mean the motor has failed. I've seen owners panic, call a tow truck, and assume the entire rear brake system locked up. In many cases, it's just a system glitch. Toyota's electronic parking brake works through small electric motors mounted on the rear calipers. When you press the button, the system applies or releases the brakes electronically. But after a weak battery, jump start, brake service, or even sitting too long in cold weather, the module can lose calibration. That's when you get a warning message or the brake won't disengage smoothly. Here's the simple reset. First, make sure the 12-volt battery is healthy. Then, with your foot firmly on the brake pedal, turn the ignition to on. Press and hold the electronic parking brake switch in the release position for about 10 seconds. After that, apply the brake again by pulling the switch up and hold it for another 10 seconds. Turn the vehicle off, wait 30 seconds. Restart and test it. This forces the module to recalibrate its motor limits. Replacing an electronic parking brake motor can cost hundreds. Trying this reset costs nothing, and many times that's all the system needed to behave normally again. Reset number 2. Hybrid battery, cooling, fan reset for Prius and hybrid warning lights. When a Toyota hybrid throws a hybrid system warning, it doesn't automatically mean the big battery is dying. I've seen Prius and Camry hybrid owners prepare for a $3,000 battery replacement when the real issue was something much smaller. The hybrid battery has a cooling system, and that system matters more than most people realize. Toyota hybrids like the Toyota Prius, Toyota Camry Hybrid, and Toyota RAV4 Hybrid use a cooling fan to regulate battery temperature. That fan pulls air through vents, usually near the rear seat. Over time, dust, pet hair, and debris clog the intake. When airflow drops, battery temperature rises. The system reacts by limiting performance and turning on warning lights. The battery itself may be perfectly fine. It's just overheating. Here's the reset procedure after cleaning the vent and ensuring the 12-volt battery is healthy. Disconnect the negative battery terminal for about 15 minutes. Reconnect it securely. Start the vehicle and let it sit in ready mode for 5 minutes without driving. Then, take a gentle 10 to 15-minute drive. I've seen warning lights disappear immediately after this. Before assuming the worst, check the airflow, clean the intake, try the reset. Sometimes the difference between a $0 fix and a $3,000 mistake is just understanding how the system actually works. Reset number 1 fixes frozen Toyota touchscreen. Before you let anyone quote you $1,200 for a new infotainment system, try this first. When your Toyota's touchscreen freezes, goes black, or stops responding, it doesn't mean the whole head unit is dead. I've seen owners quoted over $1,000 for a replacement when the system just needed a proper reboot. Modern Toyota infotainment systems are basically small computers. Whether you're driving a Toyota Camry, Toyota Corolla, or Toyota RAV4, the screen runs software that controls navigation, Bluetooth, backup camera, and audio. And just like a phone or laptop, sometimes it glitches. You might see a frozen screen. The backup camera may lag. Bluetooth may refuse to connect. The radio might restart randomly. Most of the time, that's a software hang, not hardware failure. Here's the hard reboot trick. First, turn the vehicle off completely and open the driver's door. Wait at least 60 seconds to allow the system to power down fully. Then, restart the vehicle. If the issue remains, press and hold the physical power/volume button on the head unit for about 10 to 15 seconds until the screen shuts off and restarts. On many Toyota systems, this forces a system reboot. In stubborn cases, disconnecting the negative battery terminal for 15 minutes performs a deeper reset. Dealerships often jump straight to module replacement, but many times the fix is the same thing you do with a frozen phone. Restart it properly, and that simple reset can save you a 4-digit bill. If you're enjoying this video, consider watching the next one, where I'm guiding Toyota owners with my honest experience to cut breakdown cost.